What's up? Welcome to today's live stream. I'm him. Today is December 19th. It's a Thursday. We are coming up to the last week of the month fairly soon and into the new year. So I think this is what, week 50 of the year? And then next week is week 51, if I'm not mistaken. No real agenda today. Yeah, I'm getting close to my vacation time and wrapping up on some of the work that I've been working on all quarter. And given that tomorrow is my last day working, I'm not going to do it tonight. I'm going to just do it tomorrow. But yeah, I will most likely watch videos and just talk about it, you know? So for this one, this is very much a participatory stream. So get involved, say some stuff. Oops. All right, so let's switch back to here. Oh, and maybe I don't want to use my work browser. Let's not use my work browser. Just shutting down some stuff from the work that I was doing earlier. Man, it feels later than I thought. For whatever reason, I thought it was late. I'm over here like, man, I should go to the gym before it's too late, but it's only 6:30. I'm streaming too early, streaming earlier than I want to stream. I normally go based off of feel. I'm like, oh, it's getting late. Maybe I should stream. It's typically how I am. All right. Okay, I just wanted to make sure this wasn't like an internal video. Or wait, hold on. Is this no, this isn't internal. This is a stream. Perfect. All right, cool. So I have some video history, or maybe what I'll do is make a new scene, perhaps. Maybe not. All right, so after I just got back from walking my dog Roscoe, and I was sitting on the couch. Sometimes I sit on my couch. Normally I sit on the floor, but I was sitting on the couch and I was getting ready to watch a video on YouTube, and I was sitting there. I'm like, you know what? I may as well watch the video live on stream. So that's what I'm about to do. This video is from CNA. This is the Singaporean news agency where I get a lot of my news for, you know, that part of the world, Southeast Asia as well as Asia. They tend to do a fairly good job, in my opinion. I've been watching their stuff since I discovered it when I went to Singapore, for the first time in my life in 2018, I think. Yeah, I think it was 2018. And I noticed that their reporting is unbiased. And yeah, so as a result, I now watch them. Now, I'm not saying that it's 100% unbiased, but it's less biased than what we have here because they at least report facts. You know, it's less opinionated, which, you know, I appreciate. So we're going to watch that, and I am going to talk about it. And when I say we, I mean I'm going to watch it. I'm pretty sure it's just me watching myself as usual, which is okay. All right, did I find it? Yes, I did. Perfect. All right, so here is the video I'm going to watch. All right, so let me turn down my music, and I'm also going to turn down the system audio. It doesn't need to be too loud. And let's do right there for the music.
Countries around the world are becoming increasingly concerned over the use of social media by children. Australia took some of the strictest moves last month as it passed a landmark law banning children under 16 years old from social media. Now, the law only kicks in later next year.
So my question, and I'm not saying I'm for or against. I actually I am going to say whether or not I'm for or against something like this here in America. I would, for the most part, I would be okay with it to some extent. Here's my issue. How do you enforce this? Because here in our country, in America, we already have these laws on the books where, you know, you need to be a certain age to use these platforms. I want to say it's 13 or maybe it was 16. I don't remember. I should know this. I mean, maybe I'm not going to research this now. I'm going to add this on my list of things to go and learn. And maybe I can have an educated conversation about these things. So I want to figure out what the name of the law is. I don't think it's the Digital Millennium Act. It's another act, which is for, like, you know, determining what type of stuff can have kids on it. So put that as a question that I need to answer for myself. What is the law that prevents children from using online services in America, if there is one? So yeah, hopefully I'll, you know, follow that up and like live on stream. Ask if you care.
But it already has many other nations thinking along the same lines. Among them, Norway, France, Sweden, as well as Indonesia. But what about Singapore? Are its young people equally at risk? I have with me two experts.
Okay, so like I said, for the most part, I'm in favor of this. Here's where my concern comes in. And it's not because of what they're doing. It's more so of how are they going to accomplish it. The thing is that a lot of these social media companies are owned by certain people with a lot of power in the world. They control a lot of finance. They control a lot of just everything, right? So, you know, because they have all the wealth. So how are you going to, like, enforce it? You know, like, how are you going to prevent them from, I don't know, that's where I'm at. It's like, how do you actually stop this? And then, given that the people who own these platforms have so much power, that implies that they have political sway. Now, I know in Singapore, they are a lot less corrupt than other places, just due to, you know, their founding father, essentially. But I like, since it's like a nexus, it's a hub of finance. So that means that, you know, there's a lot of money in that area that's foreign, and, you know, they like to attract investments. I don't know. This is where I'm at. I just don't understand how they would do it. Although I would like for them to do it. It would be easier to do in Singapore. Like real talk, it's a very tiny place. It's a different culture. They follow rules a little bit differently. So
it's for a
it would
closer
work
look
there,
at the
most
issues
likely.
at play here. Dr. Daniel Fung is CEO of the Institute of Mental Health. Also joining us is Ms. Nicole Pang, Head of Services at Impart SG, a charity that works with youth and children. Welcome to the show. My first question would be for the both of you. How far should Singapore be concerned?
I wonder if that's a set. That has to be like this background right here. And the reason why I'm asking that is because I know exactly where this is. And like there's a mall, there's a mall right here, essentially. So I'm wondering if this is in the mall that I would go to sometimes, this studio. Cause that would be kind of cool, right? Like you're next to some dope ass studio like this and it's just above you and you didn't know. That's why I'm just like, oh, it's interesting. That's cool.
About our children's digital habits and why. Perhaps Dr. Fung, you can
I'm sorry, I'm off topic. I know that's a picture. I can tell that's a picture. And here's how you would see lights flickering. Right here, this road, I think it's like the Fullerton Hotel. It's a shit ton of cars. There's a light right there. You would see it. So I'm like, this is just a backdrop. So it's probably not where I think it is.
Well, I think digital is part of the new social norm today. But the timing is important. I mean, we know that screen times for young children, infants, toddlers are not appropriate. But what about older kids? And as they go to school, how do they interact with the digital life and what does it mean for them? It's a productivity tool. It's also information. We just have to be careful about its use so that it doesn't overwhelm them, because there are developmental phases that one has to go through, particularly around relationships and the internet, the vast globalized connectivity through that.
So what I don't understand, it's not necessarily an argument against what he's saying. It's more of an agreement. I don't understand why we need social media to begin with. I didn't have it growing up. My parents didn't have it growing up. My great grandparents didn't have it growing up, and my I didn't know my great grandparents. I only knew my great grandparents. None of them have had social media growing up, and they seem to be okay with it. They seem to be able to get to a point to where they can produce me and I can be here, right? So if my family can somehow produce someone who goes on to earn, a lot to do well, that tells me that this social media bullshit, you don't need it to do well. In fact, I've been contemplating getting rid of a phone, like my phone. Like, I don't understand why I need it. Hold on, give me a second. All right, sorry, I'm responding to text messages. All right, let's go back to the video. Let's see what he has to say.
Present some challenges for young people learning to navigate their relationships.
Ms. Pang, what about you? What are your thoughts on this? Why and to what extent should the digital habits of our children be of our concern?
Right. I think to acquire digital habits as you grow up is one thing. It's another thing to be born into these digital habits. And so there's so much noise and unfiltered content that's available on social media as well. And our children are immersed in it every single day and at every stage of.
So I hear what she's saying. Yes, they are immersed in it, but why? I think that's a very important question to ask. Is, all right, well, yeah, I accept that, but why are they immersed in it? In my experience, you cannot access these platforms without either a mobile phone or a computer in your hand. And I know for a fact that, Singaporean kids in school are not accessing these things on those computers. So it's likely on their phone, which begs the question, like, what do they even need phones for? And I'm not saying like, Singaporean kids don't need phones, or Australian kids don't need phones, or American kids don't. I'm saying that, like, why do kids need phones? Who needs to contact them? Like, who in the world finds a kid valuable to where they need to get in contact with that kid to do, other than their parents? That's I get the parent, but other than that, like, you don't need a phone. And I think that there are other devices, or maybe just get a dumb phone, like, flip phone, or one of those. It's just like, if you just need a phone for your kid, just get a phone. There's no need for it to be a smartphone. I think that's what I'm really trying to say. Like, kids don't need a smartphone. In fact, I would go so far as to say that the only people who really need a smartphone are the folks who are doing like things that they need, like they need to do work mobilely, right? Like you have work that needs to get done. You need to be available, or, accessible, communication type stuff, like that kind of stuff. Sure. A cell phone makes sense, but most of the people who I see using a cell phone, they don't need one. I know we've democratized access to these devices, but let's be real. Most people don't need a cell phone. I'm looking at most of these people and they play video games. That's what they're doing. Video games and scrolling. That's it. They're not doing anything productive on these devices. So that tells me that it's not needed. But money is being made, which goes back to how would they enforce this? Because so much money is tied up in social media. So much. And given that there's so much money in it, that means that there's a lot of power. There's a lot of, because people, for whatever reason, are really attracted to money. I would actually be, I'm going to have to follow this. 'Cause I want to know how it turns out, right? Like, I am one of those types of people that believes that, yeah, you can say, oh yeah, this may not work and all this and that, bump all that. The only way to know is to know. So you go do it. And I'm grateful that they are, at least, they've recognized the problem and now they are trying solutions, which, to be honest, is more than I can say that we do here in America. What we do is we just bitch and complain, and we never really talk about solutions. A solution will come up and then everyone attacks it, and then we reset ourselves, right? It's never a point where we get to a point where we have a solution. It may not be a good one, but it's a solution, and we try it out to see what happens, what comes from it. I believe that by doing that, you learn a lot. There's a lot that you can learn just by, that. Anyway, let's keep playing.
Their lives. And so it's important to have conversations surrounding, how much social media usage should be available to children and youth.
One other thing that I wanna say about this, about why this is super important for, I think, all societies to think about banning social media in general, especially from anyone who's underage. And I would say, I would actually make it like drinking age. So if you can't drink until 21, then, well, you shouldn't be able to do this until 21 either. Same with smoking and anything else, right? Like, if we're going to have these arbitrary ages, like, let's be consistent. But here's why I think that it's incredibly important to have something in place to mitigate this. It exposes your population to psychological operations, psyops. In fact, if you are at all familiar with anything within, communist propaganda and some of the things that occurred in the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, 60s, the 70s in other countries who experimented with these forms of government, one of the things that is in their playbook, you have to capture the children. That's why it's important. There was a revolution that happened, 30 or 40 years ago? A really big one in a very important country. Some of you may know the country. I'm not going to say the name of it right now. But a very big revolution happened. And the leaders of that revolution, they were the kids. Something to keep in mind. Like, I think that those who who understand human behavior, which, let's be real, those are the people who own these social media platforms. Even people like me, because of the nature of the kind of work that I've done in the past, I know a little bit more about how humans behave and how you can exploit patterns in their behavior for your benefit. And this is a situation where smart people are literally just destroying dumb people, and they don't even know they're being destroyed. But what's sad is that, these people are like, I don't know, you can't tell them anything. Yeah. Oh man. Anyway, let's see what else she has to say.
These apps that have been identified by Australia, we are looking at Snapchat, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, X. Australia has considered these apps to be of concern, but these are also platforms that have become so ingrained in our young people's lives. What is Singapore's good?
Here's one. All right, so every platform she named other than TikTok is American. America has hegemony. We have interest. And when I say we, I'm not saying me, I'm meaning the state America, like the state. It has interest. And I hope that most of you understand that when America has interest and people get in the way of those interests, those people they're not long for this world, which is what concerns me. It's not that, that they're trying to get rid of the social media. What concerns me is the reaction that these people who stand to lose hundreds of billions of dollars, that's my concern, is what would they do? Because in the past, when our elites can't get their way in other countries, what they've done is they've done something called regime change. They would do a covert toppling the government, essentially, where they go in and they basically change the regime. And it happens. Happens a lot. The best known case of this, maybe I shouldn't say the best known, maybe I should say the most impactful case of this that still affects us to this day, is Iran. Just saying, and that's over there. I mean, same shit happened in South America with the Dole Corporation. The reason why Dole basically freaking owns South America is because of our military. Anyway, I digress. Let's keep going.
Good and bad experience with our children using such platforms?
Right. I think one of the biggest good things would be that they gain a lot of information and knowledge through these platforms. And it goes beyond what's being taught at schools and homes sometimes. And social media is also...
Yeah, right here. Yeah, so she's saying some benefits, sure, whatever, yeah. Knowledge. Yeah, anybody can say anything, but we don't actually know if it's true or not. But let's just accept it at face value. Yeah, they're getting knowledge, these other things, but at what cost? Is it worth having what they're saying here? 1 in 3 between 15 and 35 suffer from depression, anxiety, stress. That's 33%. That's 33%. Is that worth it? Like, it's me knowing more stuff. Is that worth it? That saying ignorance is bliss. Maybe we're not meant to know too much, not everyone. I want to be clear. I think that different types of people are capable of handling different levels of information. That's what I'm trying to get at. However, with the social media, like that, it's hard to, it's hard to constrain that, because there's so much money. There's so much money in just giving you what you want to see, or bullshit, or, that we think that you're going to engage with, that'll keep you on the platform, that'll continue to give us your attention. Because let's be real, like in tech, it's your attention that we're after. If your attention is worth your attention is worth billions of dollars, maybe even trillions. So when you freely give your attention to these things, well, like, what is the cost, right? That's the thing. It's like, what is the cost? Wow. 1 in 3. And is this in Asia or just in Singapore, or is this for all of Southeast Asia? It would be ASEAN. It probably wouldn't be Asia because Northeast Asia, they're a little bit different. Plus, it's far as fuck from Southeast Asia. Let's keep going.
A tool that increases connectivity, right? Impact's mental health care arm, for example, was created because children and youths were in the community. They didn't know where to seek help, and so they reached us through social media for support. The bad thing it also surrounds connectivity and spreading information, right? We hear often of dramatic cases like, obscene photographs, young children being spread rampantly. We are also dealing not only with like unfiltered content, but also a lot of unfiltered advice. So many.
She says unfiltered. I'm going to say uncensored. That's what we have a lot of words in the industry that have they have a few more syllables. So it doesn't conjure up those, those feelings that you get when someone's trying to control you. But if we say it a certain kind of way, we can get around that fact. So that's kind of what's happening here. Is basically censorship, which, to be fair, every society, I believe, has the right, and it's their, not the right, what's the word? The sovereignty. They have the sovereignty to shape their society however they want. And if they don't want free speech, that's fine. And for what it's worth, I think it was Lee Kuan Yew, Lee Yu Kwan, is that his name? Lee Yu Kwan, maybe? Oh, Lee Kuan Yew. Yeah. So Lee Kuan Yew, he's one of these people who truly embodied that. Let's see. Dang, I'm missing a real after hour stream. All my after hour streams are real. No.
Voices telling you what to do, and then for some of these children and youths, they may not just have a safe adult that can guide them in terms of discerning what's good advice, what's bad advice. Yeah.
So it's really a boon and a bane, especially for our children. Indeed. On the digital space. Dr. Fang, some of the conversations.
For what it's worse for our American audience, who don't know that international people may speak English better than you, boon and the bane. That's just the good and the bad. That's it. So the bane is you could think of that as a bad thing, like a kryptonite, that kind of thing, or something that's hard, like bane of my existence, that kind of thing. And then the other one, which I've already forgotten the word that she just said. Let me listen back.
Especially for our children. Indeed. On the digital space.
Oh wait, no, she said a boon and a bane. Yeah, the boon is something that's good. It's a positive. So.
Dr. Fang, some of the conversations online have argued that social media bans are unlikely to work. They say the move is ambitious. It is not as simple to
I'm glad that she's bringing that up, because that's essentially my argument. It's not that my argument is that I don't think that this is a good idea. I think that, something needs to be done. My only concern is, how do they enforce this? Because let's do some second order consequence thinking, right? Let's say that they do this, and then they put in laws that require all of these social media companies who operate within Singapore to require that they collect identification information from their, basically you need to have a driver's license or your passport or something like that. That's where my concern comes in, because if Singapore does, Singapore is a very rich country and they have a lot of sway. So if Singapore does it, most of ASEAN is probably going to do it, which is a fairly large economic bloc. It's probably 1.32 billion people as a part of that bloc. And if they get their way, and I'm not saying if that happens, then what's to stop the countries in Central Asia and I'm pretty sure they would like to do that, or in West Asia, I'm pretty sure they would love to do that in West Asia, Or what about in Africa? Some of them would probably like to do that. I imagine Europe. So it's basically, that could have effects here in America where now if I want to use YouTube, and I'm not saying this is going to happen because, you know, it's very much slippery slope, but I don't want to get into a position where if I want to use an internet service, I need to give them my identifying information. I don't think that, I think that's an overreach. We've already given corporations too much power in our country. And now I'm supposed to, I have to prove to them who I like. Nah, I don't want that. So that's kind of where I'm like, man, if they get their way, like, could that affect my ability to use services without having to give them my ID? Because there's a lot of services that I am starting to see where they're know your customer process. But we call it KYC, but it's know your customer. That process is becoming incredibly invasive. Like here, one of the things, and they changed it because I moved and then I came back. When I wanted to get another place there, I had to give them access to, I had to like show them my bank account, that kind of shit. I'm just so, I mean, not everybody's like me. I have a few. So I was just like, well, sure, I'll show you one of them. Or I'll just go make another one and put a couple $100s in there and be like, here's a bank account, that kind of shit. But like, they're asking for too much. They're asking for too much information. It's none of their fucking business. You know, it's kind of how I am, but let's keep going. All of what I'm saying is not an attack against what they're after. And it's not me disagreeing with what they're after. I think they're absolutely right. I'm just, you know, concerned what the ramifications could be if, you know, things continue to go the way that they're going. And to be fair, things aren't going well anyway. So it's like, we're probably already heading in that direction regardless.
Implement. How would you address these concerns, and what do we gain if we do keep our young children away from social media?
A ban is a top-down effort, you know, really telling everyone to stop something. I much rather we ban smoking, for example, because these are real dangers. Social media has positives. What I think is important is supervision, monitoring, and the conversations with young people as they learn about this new ways of communicating. And that's where adults and caregivers, they play a role. I think it's important that parents understand this. If they don't understand what you just said, Snapchat, all those various Facebook, and I think adults know Facebook, but they may not know the other forms of social media, then they ought to educate themselves and be kind of prepared for this as a young person, especially if they're going to give them a smart device like a smartphone where you have access.
So do you think Australia...
I like that response. I agree with them. That's the parents' responsibility to raise their children properly. I don't think that you would hear that here in America, because here in America, we seem to think that the state is a better parent than the actual parent, which is odd. But yeah, this is actually what I believe in. To be real, this is probably why Singapore does better than us in almost every single metric. And it's not just Singapore. There are a lot of other countries that do better than us. In fact, the thing that we do the best in is GDP, which, yeah, great. But what's the correlation between GDP and a country's happiness? Everything that I've seen points to a negative correlation. The richer or the more GDP, the less happy the citizenry is. There could be a reason behind that. You know, we do live in an oligarchy here in America. We don't really live in the form of society that we are told. We live in what's called an oligarchy. And of course, you don't have to believe me, but if you are smart and you can use your own brain and you know the definition of words, you will understand that we live in an oligarchy. There are a small group of people who control most of the economy and most of how we operate here in America. And it's not just here in America, it's also the world. Like, there are relatively very few people on earth control anything. It's all, I'm sorry, very few people on earth control everything. It's a very small amount of people who have a outsized impact, you know, because they own a lot of things. Oh shit, what just happened? Why did my... What? Shit. No. No. Please, shit. I don't want this to... Oh shit. I don't need my computer to update. Okay, all right. Hopefully it won't try to update. Hopefully it'll fail. Cancel, yeah, schedule. Yeah, cancel that. There's a reason why I can't have this update, because I'm working on a project right now. I don't need to shit. I don't need it breaking.
Australia's move here is very drastic. Is it a good or a bad move, you think?
I think it's drastic. It was surprising. The evidence of social media being a bad thing is still being discussed. I think there's quite a bit of debate today. The science around trying to study a social phenomenon and then trying to implicate it as cause for mental illness, for example, is a bit premature, I would say. I think a very recent meta-analysis, which is a kind of a review of all the literature that's out there, doesn't suggest that it's directly harmful. It might be that if you are more prone to an illness, you might be actually going to social media a lot more. So that causal link may not be established. So I'm a bit careful about trying to say, okay, this is really bad. So you make a decision to ban something because it's a social phenomenon. It's based on other factors.
I can sum that up to correlation is not, like, correlation and causation are two different things, right? Like, there might be this correlation, but it may not be the cause. And that's kind of what he's saying. It's like, we don't really know if it's indeed social media that's causing it. Now, there's data that may suggest it, but even then, it's like, even if we do know that it's causing it, just ripping it out may not actually be the solution. You know, there's always unintended consequences with everything. And that's because humans don't have perfect information and we can't predict the future, which means that there's going to be room for things to happen that we don't expect. And I mean, like, just think about your own life. How much of what happens in your life did you expect to happen? And if you say most everything, I know you're bullshitting. Because every time I drive by someone who's living on their goddamn bridge, I'm not, in my mind, I'm like, they probably didn't plan to be here. Or the people who find themselves in, you know, like a county hospital after some type of thing, they probably didn't plan to, you know, to be there. It's like it's, anyway, let's keep on.
It's certainly not the science.
Okay, there's a very good point there that you just made. Ms. Pang, earlier you talked about the exposure to unhealthy content when children get onto social media. We've heard of the negative impacts also of using excessive social media. What are the main problems that you are seeing stemming from an all too early use of social media?
Right. I think one of the things we really see on the ground would concern coping mechanisms. Social media and device usage are almost the default, coping mechanisms for a lot of children and youths. They turn to their devices when they are having big emotions in order to kind of...
She just said something. They turn to their devices. That is a learned behavior. Why would they turn to their devices? What I mean, but like, let's say that, you have someone right next to you who, if you ask them a question, they always answer. They're willing to answer your question or talk to you, whatever, that kind of thing. Let's say that you have that person. What's the likelihood that you're going to instead go to your device to get, your question answered versus just talking to the person next to you? And what I'm getting at is this, like, maybe they are suffering from some of the same problems that we suffer from here, in that it's incredibly expensive. The cost of living for Singaporeans, at least, it's a little tougher because they have immigration as well, primarily from China. And those folks who are coming into Singapore are not poor. They are rich. They are richer than you. These are people with billions of dollars, and they're coming in, and the price of real estate in Singapore has increased by a substantial amount. I'll just say that. By a substantial amount. it's disgusting how much something costs there now. Meanwhile, the price of all of their goods, they're suffering from inflation just like us. And they have very small apartments. It's like all these things. So how much of it is because their parents might have to work a little bit more, and maybe they get home, they're tired and they don't want to have to, hang with the kids and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. I'm just making up stuff. I don't know what it is.
Distract themselves or soothe themselves. And this also means that in very difficult or stressful situations, they find it hard to cope without their devices. And we've found that on the ground at Impart, as we are working with children and youth, we've had to help a lot of them to actually unlearn this over-reliance on devices and relearn healthy coping mechanisms.
What about cyberbullying? I mean, that is something that has been discussed quite often also.
For sure, it's a big one. And
Cyberbullying. I can't talk about their culture, but I can talk about ours, because we talk about that here too, cyberbullying. How did we become so weak as a society? I think you have to be a weak-minded individual to fall prey to fake bullying, cyberbullying, like the kind of bullying where you have to log in to go and see it, where you have to actively read like that. I'm sorry, but when I was younger, bullying was not an option. And what I mean by that is you had no say in whether or not you got bullied. So if you were in the hallway, you would get jumped. Or, you have a bunch of people and, you just get chopped, we had chop session, chop session, that kind of shit. You don't really have a choice. You can't choose not to engage. Cyberbullying is very much you have to choose to engage kind of thing, in my opinion. Unless it's posting pictures and shit. But even then, it's like if you're not on it and you don't see it, why do you give a shit? I imagine there's all kinds of dumb shit about me being said, but I don't give a fuck. Because I don't know. I have to respect you for your opinion to matter to me. It's just how I am. Maybe it doesn't work for everyone, but it works for me. Uh-oh. What's up with my... Oh, gosh. For whatever reason, my prompter keeps freezing. Okay.
And I think with regards to just different platforms, the level of control and the standards are also very different in terms of the restrictions and how they are filtering the content.
Censoring.
And so
restrictions, control.
With regards to cyberbullying, it really goes to quite a huge extent because of that.
Actually, bullying is about 10% of kids get bullied. But cyberbullying presents the whole world in global kind of settings. Okay. And that's the risk, I think, that social media presents. Whereas in traditional bullying, you're in a classroom, you're in a school setting, usually. I'm
glad that he brought up how many people are actually bullied. Because far too often, I hear arguments from a certain demographic of people who'll be like, oh, we don't want to have bullying and all this bullshit. And then you learn that it's such a... it's like, how many people actually get bullied? All right, 10%. Now, let's be real. Bullying, there's a very wide spectrum of what's considered bullying. Like some things you may not consider bullying, but it's considered bullying by someone else. But let's assume that within that subset, within that 10%, there's a subset who are, who I would consider a bully. Those types of people who it's like, if I see them doing something like that, I might fuck them up. Those types of individuals are rare. I would argue that they're probably less than 1% of the population of the total, right? So if we go from 10, I would say maybe 10% of that 10% is actually, the types of bullies that we need to be concerned about. But with social media, you don't have to worry about the physical stuff, I suppose. I don't know. Maybe I think what it is that I have a high sense of self-worth. I think that's what it is. I have confidence. So maybe this is why I simply can't, I don't even understand why someone would care about what someone else has to say about them, especially when that someone else is not someone you respect or love, or someone who puts a roof over your head, or anyone important. It's just some random person. Now, that being said, you should also know I've been online, like in this, like publicly, since I was a kid. I started my YouTube channel, and it wasn't in this form, right? This is what I'm doing now is 360, 720 degree turnaround. I'm not going the same direction, even though I know technically if you do a 720, you're going the same. I'm just saying, just to be funny, right? This is so far away from what I started doing, but when I first started my YouTube channel, I was 16. And yeah, people would talk shit and all that kind of stuff. But even then, it's like, it didn't matter to me. It's like, okay, these are words on the screen. And if someone says something to me that I know isn't true, I don't feel the need to argue with them about it, you know?
It's a limited number of people. Cyberbullying is much riskier because of global ability to snowball into something really
I see
bad.
what he's saying, the global part.
And Dr. Fang, you also did a study on how excessive use of social media appears to be linked to the mental health of children and youth. What were the key findings of this study? What stood out to you the most?
That's not my study, but it's from our institute.
Sure.
I think we were trying to look at social media use. I think, we measured excess as something more than 3 hours of use. And of course, 3 hours is actually probably a lower end of what people may.
Okay, so 3 hours. Let's put that into context. How long 3 hours is? That's not a small amount. Most people are only up for 15 to 16, let's say 16 hours. I'm gonna make it easy for me, 15 hours. All right, so out of those 15, well, we can say 16. Yeah, let's say 16. I can do math. So let's say out of those 16 hours, you put 3 of them on social media looking at your phone. So now you have 13 hours of all of the other stuff. Let's see what that 3% is. I actually I can't do percents with sixes. It's weird. I can only do it with certain numbers. So we're going to do, wait, I've already got what I was doing. Oh yeah, never mind. Yeah, I know what I'm doing now. So it's 18%. It's almost 20%. So that's almost 1/5 of your time is spent looking at your phone. Unless you are someone who earns your living from looking at a phone, I'm one of those people. All right. Unless you're someone like me, like you shouldn't be on your phone that much. And I want to see how, like, what's my screen time for today? Does it say? I have no idea. It's trying to, oh wait, hold on. Wait, what? As this device is used, screen time will be reported here. Okay, well, apparently all right, fine. I guess I haven't used my phone today much. I try not to use my phone. I don't like it. I don't get any value out of it anymore. Now my phone is just for others to take my time away. That's how I look at it. It's a time suck. You know? Like some will come in and it's like, okay, all of a sudden an hour disappears. And I'm not talking about because I'm strong. It's like I had to respond to stuff, or maybe I had to go do some work. It's that kind of stuff. Anyway, let's keep going.
How much accessibility is. And we found that kids with mental illnesses are more likely to use higher social media. But that goes exactly with the point that when a young person is having a mental health issue or a mental health condition, they're more likely to use social media.
All right.
That doesn't necessarily mean that it causes mental illness.
Dr. Fang, Ms. Pang, I wish we can talk longer on this topic, but thank you so much for coming in to share your perspectives with us. That was Daniel Fang.
All right, cool. That was cool. That was, like I said, that was what I was about to sit down and watch, and I was like, I'll just start my live stream and I'll watch it live. Let me pull up my, I have a Discord channel, by the way, that I dump a bunch of stuff into, and maybe I'll watch the video. Oh, that's the thing, is I've already watched these videos. I don't want to watch them again. But who knows? Maybe there's something in here that's worth sharing with y'all. Well, literally all of it. Like the Federal Reserve. Here, let me pull up the report. Well, this is the live stream, but let me also pull up the. I shared the notes. Yeah, here we are. Federal Reserve notes. So we can look at this as well. It's their summary of it's the SEP essentially. So this is the whatever the hell you call this, their press conference yesterday, and why is this not okay? Yeah, so this is the SEP. So I mean, we could go through this, see what's up. Let's see, but let's see. Nah, no one says they want to see it, so I'll move on. Find something else. Yeah, I don't want to watch something I've already watched. Wait, why don't it's like I don't know how to use YouTube. I'm trying to figure out how to use this freaking site that they keep changing. Okay. Okay, so here's a guy asking a question, should you move to Japan? This is pertinent to me because I am actually considering leaving the country. Like this is, it's an option for me. I am not saying this is because a certain person is not, it's not because of that. I've had a plan to leave the country. I've done it before. And I came back during COVID and kind of got stuck here. And I've been trying to figure out like, where am I going to go to next? So Japan, let's see. I don't know if I want to live in Japan though, like real talk. But I haven't stayed there for any length of time, significant length of time. And significant for me is like more than a week or two. In fact, today is the 19th. I'm on vacation starting tomorrow. I could go to, let's see. Actually, let's see if I can go to Japan. Let's see what flights are like. Go next week, maybe Monday. But I wouldn't be able to stay that long. That's the problem. That's what sucks. I wouldn't be able to stay long. But I could stay. I could stay the new year. Yeah, because I don't have to be back to work until. I think I took off until. I don't know when I'm coming back. Oh, the 6th. Yeah, I'm coming back on the 6th. Okay. Yeah, so maybe till that Friday, maybe. Wait, why is this? Okay, so it would be next Monday to Friday of whatever that is. Let's see what this is like. $7,500. It's $7,000. Yeah, so it's about $7,000. What happens if I go 2 days later? I think the most I'd be willing to pay is $5,000 for the flight if I do go. Nah. Yeah, I'm not paying $7,000. I'll pay $5,000. So yeah, here's what I was going to do. I just purchased a new camera for what, $7,500. So I'm like, I mean, technically I don't need another camera. I have a lot of cameras. So I could just be like, you know what? Instead of purchasing this Sony camera from Japan, I'm gonna just go to Japan and be there for a few weeks. I could just do that. Christmas time, that's why it's so expensive, especially right before New Year. Oh, okay. I did not know that. Okay. I didn't know they celebrated Christmas there. Normally when I go to Asia during Christmas time because historically, at least for me, it's been cheaper. For instance, like if I go to Singapore, which is normally where I would go during this time of year, the flight here is actually relatively cheap. Relatively, it should be about $3,000, maybe $4,000. Oh shit! Never mind. What the fuck? Goddamn, $6,000 to go to Singapore right now? Goddamn. Now you may be like, oh yeah, it's because you're looking like last minute. Let me educate you about me. Literally every flight that I've purchased is last minute. Most I'll do is a week in advance because I don't know what I'm doing week to week. Man, I'm not paying $6,000 to go there, and I'm not flying economy, so I guess I'm not going to Japan, or Singapore. Damn, I can't even go to Singapore right now. Shit. Guess I'm not going to Singapore either. I'm going to check though. Boxing. So December 25. I don't know. It's Boxing Day. What's Boxing Day in Singapore? Singapore Boxing Day. Oh, it's the 26th. Okay. Yeah. Singapore is not about to happen right now. God shit. Fuck. How? Whoa. What the what? How is a premium economy flight three times more expensive than a business class flight? Man. Oh my gosh, bro. Yeah, I think I just discovered I am now poor. I think that's what I've discovered. Cause 25 G's, bro, like that for a flight, I'm sorry. I can't do it. It looks like this Cathay, so it must be flying through Hong Kong. That must be why it's so expensive. It's because it's going through Hong Kong. Because you're going to another international airport, they have their own taxes, but it shouldn't be that much. I have no idea why that's $25,000. That's insane, man. Okay, well, let's see how many miles could I have. I can go for free, maybe. Maybe I'll just shit. Never mind. I'm not logging in. Y'all don't need to know what I have. I'm broke. I don't have anything. All right, so I'm not going to freaking Japan, unfortunately, or Singapore. So I'm not doing shit for Christmas anymore. I'll just be here and I'm gonna just stay home and be broke. I can't afford $20,000 flights. I'm curious, but any of you, like, if you have the money, great. Like I have the money to pay for it, but like, let's say you have the money. Are you paying 25 G's for a flight? And what I'm getting at is that this is basically principle at this point. I won't pay that much for a flight out of principle. It has nothing to do with the fact that no money, I give zero fucks. Out of principle, I cannot pay over a certain amount of money. And that's for anything. That's for anything. One of the reasons that I'm not driving the GT3, the new one, is because out of principle, I'm not willing to spend more than $250,000 on a car. Just real talk. I made the decision when I think I was 29, when I noticed that every new vehicle I got was more expensive than the last. And when I'm all of a sudden looking at $300,000 cars, I realized that I had a problem. Where I'm just like, I remembered telling myself, if I get this car, I will be happy and I'll have this forever. And then a year and a half later, I'm getting another car. And then it's like, it's more expensive. I'm going to be happy with this car. And then a year later, same thing. I recognized that it was a pattern of behavior that needed to change. So at that day when I was just like, all right, I need to set a boundary, a limit. I set it at $250,000. I thought that was a lot. I mean, it is a lot of money. I didn't know that I didn't know Mustangs would start coming out for $350,000. I didn't know that would start happening, you know. In my mind, I'm like, yeah, that's like no car manufacturer would ever have $200,000. But man, so many vehicles cost that now. It's insane. Do you know what the new Porsche Taycan costs? Oh shit, that scared the fuck out of me. Shit, I forgot that was a video. Let's look at this Porsche Taycan Turbo GT, whatever the hell they're calling this electric piece of shit. Huh? Wait, did they change their what? Wait, why is their website different? Never mind. I'm dumb. It's because I'm stupid. That's why. Oh wait, no. Am I stupid? No, I'm not stupid. Where's the Turbo GT? They just announced. Like, it just came out. It just came out. They changed their website. I don't like this. I don't like it. But I guess I'm no longer in the market for Porsches. I put them on my fuck list. Oh, here we are. Here we are. Cool. Oh, never mind. It's cheaper than I thought. It's $175. But even then, that's still a shit ton of money for an iPhone with wheels. It's an iPhone on wheels. Which means that in 2 years, it's going to be outdated and probably worth maybe $60,000, maybe. That's what I would expect after 2 years. It would be worth about $60,000, maybe $70,000. Anyway, let's watch this video. Even though I'm not going to Japan because I can't afford a $20,000 flight, I'll just live vicariously through this dude in his shoes.
Should you move to Japan? Well, depending on the reasons, maybe not.
I can answer that question. Should you move anywhere? If you are moving somewhere because you think that all of your problems will be solved, they won't be. So if you're moving to escape from something, chances are you won't escape from that something because that something is most likely yourself. And unfortunately, you are wherever you are. So yeah, it's like focus on just being good with yourself. That's one of the things that I also recognize. And I'm not saying that I was out here just like search for other places, but there is this thing called Wanderlust. And it's based off, I think it's Ralph Waldo Emerson. Let me see, Wanderlust. Ralph Waldo Emerson. I think it was a poem or something. I'm pretty sure I'm not even spelling Wanderlust correctly. I don't know how you would spell it. Oh yeah, here we are. Or maybe, I don't know, this is it? Nah, this isn't it. Oh, yes. Hold on, how do I zoom? Okay, I'm tripping. This is how you zoom. I'm like trying to figure out how you zoom in. Now, this may not hit y'all the way that it hit me when I was in the middle of, I don't even know where the hell I was. I was somewhere in the world when I came across this, but it resonated with me at that time. And it's though we travel the world over to find the beautiful, we must carry it with us or we won't find it. The way I interpret that is beauty is within. It's you. It's not the place that you're in. So if you're living somewhere and you're like, oh man, I don't like it, I hate it, and all this other kind of stuff, you think that by moving to some other place that all your problems will be solved, it's most likely the case not going to be that way, which is unfortunate. But yeah, Ralph Waldo Emerson, he has some really dope stuff. If you all follow his writing, I think he was one of the is he a transcendentalist? I think he was a transcendentalist author, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, hold on. Actually, we can see it. How do we? Do he have a what do you call that thing? Wikipedia, maybe? Yeah, Wikipedia. Let's see if he's a transcendentalist. I think he is. Yes, look at that. Look at that. He's transcendentalist. So he's the one who. Oh wait, he led it. I didn't know he led it. I know that he was like a big proponent of it. I didn't know he was the one who led it, or did he? And oh yeah, it says who led the transcendentalist movement. Wow, that's cool. If y'all don't know what transcendentalism is, you should go figure out what that is. We have all kinds of movements in our country, as well as in other countries of the West, in which we had like innovative ideas that took root and led to some of the things that we have today. So some of the stuff is really worth looking into. Oh, hold on. I'm sorry. I had to share this. This is Off to Japan. And if you end up liking this video, you should definitely go check it out. Or at least go give it a like, show some support to these creators. For those of you who've never published a video in your life onto YouTube, I want you to understand that it takes a lot of courage and it actually takes a lot of effort to produce these videos. So if you see someone who's doing something like this, at least give them a thumbs up because it costs you nothing. Just saying. That area with the Godzilla, I think that's near Shibuya. I think that's in Shibuya, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see, Shibuya Godzilla. Yeah, it's in Shibuya district. I know a little bit about Tokyo, mainly because I had planned a trip and then I decided last minute to cancel it. For this channel, believe it or not. I was like, I am not going to do my trip until I hit my goal on this channel. So yeah, I can't really, I didn't hit the goal, which I guess that's why I can't afford this ticket for $25,000 to goddamn Japan. That's insane. My gosh.
So I've been living in Japan for about 8 years in total.
Oh, wow.
And I actually kind of went on and off. I was in Japan for about 5 years, and then I moved back to the US because, to be honest, I was super miserable in Japan. But then I decided to come back to Japan, and now I'm a lot happier. And so first of all, I'm going to go through the reasons why you should not to move to Japan for these reasons, because I want you to avoid to be miserable just like I was.
I wonder if he's what do you call those types of people who like being around people and who like talking with others and like who you get energy from that? I wonder if that's like him. I kind of understand what he's talking about, because when I was traveling, especially when you're going to foreign countries where they don't speak your language and you're you don't really have anyone to talk to. So if you're someone who needs that and you don't, you're not good with, not talking to people, then it could be very hard. Or if you don't have, a community of people that exist wherever you go. So I'm kind of fortunate in that regard where, I've built some solid relationships with folks throughout the world. And the way we communicate is via like text. Not necessarily like text message, even though we do iMessage too, but like Discord or Slack, whether I'm in theirs or they were in mine, that kind of stuff. So I always had other people who I can reach out to if I really, really, really wanted to. Plus there's Instagram. People always bother me on Instagram too. So it's like, it's never really been that big of a deal not having folks to talk to, but I can see how it could be a big deal. Also, what I found out is, wherever I go, people are attracted to me wherever I go. And I mean that. Even in places where I'm told that they are supposedly racist and they hate black people, and I'm there and it don't seem like they hate me. Invite me into their homes, introduce me to their children, showing me, all their things that they're proud of, asking me about what kinds of stuff I'm into and, giving me advice. Like, real talk. The first time I went to Singapore, I ended up going into some random, I was just walking around the hawker centers and just exploring. And I ended up walking into some random place. I think just some random place. I was just looking around and I needed to ask someone where I can find something because I was looking for something. And I went in, and 2 hours later, I'm leaving. I didn't buy anything or anything. It was just, we ended up just having a conversation, and I'm pretty sure it threw him for a loop to have this tall ass black dude walk into, your place of business and you're like in Singapore. It's not, you don't really see me, right? So I'm pretty sure it was a fucking shock. And his first reaction wasn't, like, it was just like real talk, like, oh wow, like you're here. And he's like, I've never met African American before. And he just seemed excited, and he gave me some life advice. And he told me some things about like what I need to do as a man, and like all these types of things. It happened in Korea, another place where I'm told that people are apparently racist. I'm like, okay, maybe. In my experience, most places I've gone, even the racist places, I don't really, I guess you have to react to it for it to really matter. Or maybe you have to just be sensitive to it. I'm not really sensitive to like racism. It doesn't really affect me at all. Because again, if I don't respect you, I don't really care what you think or how you feel about me. And let's be real, when I go to these countries, especially in Europe, people like me, African Americans generally don't travel. The ones who do travel are the ones who are doing very well in life. So when I'm going to another country and, they want to be racist or whatever, it's like, that's cool. You can not like me. You can think you're superior. But at the end of the day, I'm in a higher status than you. So it's like, it's fine. But I wouldn't just go out and say that. And I wouldn't go out and like put someone down like, these people would who would be racist. But again, I've never experienced it. So maybe I've just been fortunate in all my years of travel. But I've been to enough places to where I should have experienced it by now. I think I've touched 48 countries so far. You would expect, I would have experienced it by now. I've spent maybe 2 years of my life outside of America. I think I would have experienced it by now. Just saying. But I found that racism is a much bigger deal here in America and in some parts of Europe. Now, I imagine that in some parts of China, it could be, but I've never been to China mainland, so I can't say. When I was in Taiwan, no one seemed to be, I didn't get that. Made friends there. I went out hanging out with folks, went into people's homes, all kinds of things. So all the stuff that people talk about here about, racism, I don't see it. But I don't think that that's what he's experiencing. I think that his case is maybe because Japanese people are very much to themselves. That may be what made him miserable. But let's see what he has to say.
Was first work ethic. In Japan, they have very, very hardcore work ethics compared to.
So he's lazy.
Most of the other countries.
That's what I'm hearing. He's like work ethic. That sounds like you're lazy. I know work isn't everything, but I'm just like, huh? To me, that falls on deaf ears. Because, I work. I look forward to work. I'm one of those people. When I go to sleep, I go to sleep thinking about what I need to get done tomorrow. And I'm not saying work for my job. I'm saying just anything that needs to get done, anything that requires effort, I consider work. All right. So what I'm doing here, me streaming, talking shit, watching video, this is work to me. Why is it work? It's because it requires effort. It's not me just over there chilling, doing nothing. Like I have to sit here and try to be entertaining, even though, I'm not an entertaining individual.
Including my home country in the US. I just remembered after I got out of my master's degree in college, I decided to work in a Japanese.
Oh, wait. Okay, so I'm hearing another issue. He said after his master's degree. So what it sounds like is that he has no real world experience in life. That's what it sounded like at that time. So he must have went from his undergrad straight to his master's and then went into work. And he probably, like most college kids who have no idea what the real world is like, he probably went in with zero work ethic. And he just learned that he wasn't a man and he had to man up. That's what it sounds like so far.
Traditional.
By the way, if whoever you are, I don't know your name off to Japan, but if you end up seeing this, I'm not technically talking out to you. But if you feel that way, let me know.
Japanese company in Japan. And the one thing about working culture in these traditional Japanese companies is there's a lot of coworkers who work very, very long hours. I remember there was this one time where I saw all of my other coworkers working until 9 or 10. And, you know, at first I went home early. I went home around 5 or 6, the usual standard time. But then you start feeling this peer pressure, because you want to integrate into this company. And so I felt like it was an obligation for me to do overwork as well.
He lost me at Phil. So he felt that he had to do something. It wasn't necessarily that he had to do it. He felt that he had to do it. He fell into peer pressure, which is, some people are that way, right? Like some people are they are unable to stand alone like that. Which is, there's nothing wrong with that. Let's be clear, there's nothing wrong with that. Maybe that's a good thing, right? It's hard to be the person who always stands out, but if you're always that person, you get used to it, I guess.
Well, I remember there's some days where I would work until 11 or 12 a.m. I even remember.
Wait, he would work till 11 or 12, so midnight. Okay. I remember those days too. I remember when I got my first big boy job. So I think I was 23. And I got my first job where I was making $120,000 a year. This was, how old am I now? I'm like 36. So this was 13 years ago. So I got my first job making that amount of money. And some of the stuff that I was required to do, I had no idea about any of it. Like, it was in a new industry. They wanted me to get exposure to certain things. So I had to go through, there's something called API, not the tech API, but the American Petroleum Institute. They have these certifications for all kinds of things. And they're very deep. You typically you work under an engineer to learn these things for a little bit, like as an apprentice, like as a real engineer. In Texas, we have licensed engineering. So you have folks who you get these certifications in certain things, but it required a shit ton of study, because there's a lot of stuff and none of it's easy. It's petroleum engineering type shit. So I didn't have any of that experience. So what I ended up having to do was I had to learn that shit on my own time, which meant that I was spending a lot of time reading about all these different types of things and doing all these other self-study. And it's it came with the job. That's how I looked at it. It's like, these people are paying me $120,000, and that may not be that much money now, but to me at the time, that was a lot. Here in Houston, 13 years ago, I wasn't upset that I had to work. It was just like, yeah, this is what comes along with that type of salary. That's how I looked at it. In his case, it seems that he did it not because he needed to necessarily learn more stuff, but that's what that was the culture in the office. So it is slightly different from my experience. And why I had to, put in 12-hour, 13-hour days. But I think it's kind of the same, right? Like, I was still spending a lot of time at the office, and it's just it's really how you handle it. That's one of the greatest things that I finally have accepted. My coaches have told me these things. I used to play sports. My mentors have told me these things. My mom, my grandparents, they've told me, there's certain things are within your control. I want to hear what else he has to say though, because I wonder if he's going to get into some of the cultural things that aren't peer pressure. And that's what I mean. Like, this work thing, he chose to do it. I get it, but at the same time, it's like you chose to do it.
Missing my last train home. But those 3 years of working, I felt like it started taking a toll on my health.
Yeah, probably burnout.
And at some point, I kind of just broke.
Yeah, burnout. I know that feeling. Burnout is a real thing. Most people probably wouldn't go through it. I think it's something that mostly high performers would go through, or people who have a lot of expectations put on them, like pressure, that kind of thing. And yeah, I know what burnout can do. Let's just say that I was fine walking away from a lot of money, like 7 figures, kind of. I do well, all right. So like I was okay with walking away from the money that I was making because I was like, it's not worth it. So I get what he's saying. Like, I've been burnt out. In fact, the reason why I have traveled to all of the places that I've done, and why I had my like 2 year I'm about to just fucking leave and never come back, it was due to burnout. And I didn't return to the workforce for what? I don't know. Gosh, when did I leave the workforce? I think I left in 2018. And then I don't think I came back to work until like 2021 or 2022, or whenever I came to my current company. The current company that I'm at is the first time that I've worked for a company outside of my own since, getting burned out and saying, you know what, I'm done with this. And that's actually one of the reasons why, if you listen to me long enough, you'll hear me, you'll start to understand like certain things don't motivate me the way that it motivates other people. So I'm not career focused at all. Zero fucks. I don't care how much I'm paid at work, that much. But that's mostly because, you realize money won't solve your problems. It's like, okay, sure. So I'm no longer concerned about that. And honestly, my approach to work is different. I used to look at work as something that I had to do. And I understood that I had to change my perspective to make it sustainable. So now I look at work as something that I have to do to get fulfillment, right? It's the thing I have to occupy myself with so that I can get fulfillment. So it's a different relationship with work and all that kind of thing. But I understand what he's going through. So he got burnt out, which like real talk, if you're working in a high stress environment, or it's a very fast paced environment, or there's just a lot of pressure, you could get burned out. And I imagine that because he moved there and that's probably his first job in another country, and he's having to work, hell, if he's doing until 9 or 10, that means he's doing like 15, 16-hour days. So if he's having to do that for 3 years, yeah, you will absolutely burn out. I think that you can only do that type of work in sprints, which is what I do now. This is part of how I changed my approach to work. I used to go balls to the wall all the time, and now I know I can't do that if I want to sustain it. So what I will do is I literally will purposefully slow down sometimes, and then other times, I'll just, if I'm productive, I just let it flow. And other times, if I'm not feeling productive, I just don't do anything. I just don't work. So I only work when I'm productive, and fortunately, I'm able to get all of my stuff done and more. And what I found is that by being, I guess, unburdened, it allows me to do a better job with my work. At least I think so. I would have to ask some other folks who've worked with me, like, what do they feel?
So I decided to quit my job, went back to the US, and to recuperate. So that's reason number one, is the work ethics in Japan are very hardcore. And so you have to be prepared for that. Or what you can do, which I did, and the reason why I came back to Japan, is because I started working at a foreign company. But in the end, I came back to Japan because I really enjoyed life here. I didn't like the work life, but I really enjoyed life here. And so what you could do, which is the reason why I came back to Japan, is I found a foreign company to work at, and everybody was a little bit more relaxed. Of course, like, we'd still work hard, but not as hard as I used to. And I felt like I got my life back. So if you do want to live in Japan, I would recommend...
I don't like how he's conflating hard with long hours. Just because you work a lot of hours don't mean that you're working hard. Just saying. As someone who's worked a lot of hours, Just because I work a lot of hours, that doesn't mean that it's hard. I've had actual hard jobs that required hard work. And just after a couple of minutes of doing it, you're just like, man, I don't want to do this no more.
Recommend going for like a foreign company with not as hardcore of a work lifestyle. I wouldn't work at a Japanese company that is very traditional because, yeah, you can get burnt out pretty fast, like I did. I mean, I was actually quite surprised that I could even work for 3 years in total at my old company.
I like what he just said right there, that he was surprised. And I think that's, man, I don't think he realizes how big of a deal what he just said is. You will be surprised what you can do. The limits that you think are your limits are not actually your limits. We can go through a lot if you're not bitch made. Now, if you bitch made, then sure, maybe, you can't do much, but like, let's be real. Humans, we can go through a lot. So the fact that he's surprised that he can last for 3 years, that it just tells me that he maybe hasn't been through much adversity, because you can do more than that, buddy. Like, real talk. I'm not putting him down. I'm just saying, it's like, you will always surprise yourself if you push yourself. Man, that's beautiful.
So one of the other reasons why you wouldn't want to move to Japan is if you're most likely to feel lonely easily.
All right, so that's what I was talking about. That's the one I would think for most people. If you want to move to another country, if you're the kind of person where you need people around you, probably not the best thing to do. Here's why. You don't have anything in common with the local population. And unless you're someone who's extremely outgoing or open to new experiences, you're probably not going to be wanting to go out and hang out with locals. Like, I'm fine with that, because I enjoy just being with, that's why I travel, is to be around the people who are there. But the other side is when you're traveling, when you're like living in a place, especially a place like Japan that attracts other people from other countries, you have these expat communities. So you will get a sense of community from these expat communities. But there is a problem. All of these expats are essentially just like you. They are transitory. So, they may be there for a little bit of time, but they're probably going to go back home, or they'll go to some other place. Some of them are, going through shit too. So like, they're kind of just floating through the world, looking, searching. So it's harder to have a stable relationships if you are one of those people who are out here trying to live in a foreign place, because you have more in common with people from the West. You don't know this yet, but if you're American, you will find that out very quickly, and you're going to want to hang around people who understand what you're going through, which no one in the country is going to understand what you're going through. So if you need that, just be prepared that the people who you meet, they're not going to be there for that long. They're always leaving. Darius says, I agree. I'm personally having a hard time making friends with Danes. Oh, so you're out. Oh, okay. So you're out living abroad too. Yeah, it can be a challenge. And it also just depends on the people there. Like, certain countries have different like cultures of hospitality. Right. So in Japan, yeah, they have a lot of hospitality. They're polite and all that kind of stuff, but they're also very reserved into themselves. So I'm like, if you're trying to go to Japan, you're probably not gonna, unless you're like me and you like being to yourself, that's what you're gonna get. Oh, that's what's up. I didn't realize that you were in Europe. So that means it's late as hell for you. You're that's a 7-hour difference, right? Where you're at? I think are you in CET? I think you're in CET. Let's look at a map. The Danish. That's Netherlands, right? Is that where the Danes are? Why is this shit so slow? What the fuck? Is oh my gosh. Okay. Are Danes, or are they Denmark? Is it Denmark or is it Netherlands? Or are the Netherlands in Denmark? And if I don't know Europe that well. Oh, it's Copenhagen. Copenhagen? Wait, is Copenhagen a country? I don't know if it is. I'm sorry, I've never heard of Copenhagen. I've heard of Copenhagen. I thought it was a city. I didn't know it was a country. My bad. Man, shit, I feel dumb now. Let's see. Why is this shit? Oh, no. It is Denmark. Okay, I was right. So Danes are Denmark. Okay, never mind. Okay. I was like, wait a minute. I've heard of Copenhagen, but I was like, I didn't know that was a country. Okay, so it is Denmark. Okay. Well, where's Netherlands then? I thought Netherlands was Denmark or something. Oh, never mind. It's next to Denmark. That's what it is. Okay. I know a lot of people from Netherlands. I've only met one person from Denmark, but in my opinion, I couldn't really tell much of a difference. I'm not saying there isn't one. I'm just saying the one person who I met from that place, I couldn't tell the difference. But I know a lot of people from Netherlands. In fact, I have been out here, believe it or not. So the North Sea, I've been out to the North Sea, that freaking treacherous body of water. God damn. Man, that's a treacherous body of water. They do a lot of oil. Well, I'm sure you know, like all the oil and gas shit off the coast here. This is where all the oil and gas stuff is. I did tell you I worked in oil and gas, right? Petroleum. So I've been North Sea. I've been here in the off in Equatorial Guinea. Where is Guinea at? Equatorial Guinea. It should be right here. Yeah. So I've been off to here, Malabo. Here's the mainland, and then to the island. And yeah, I've been out to here, Gulf of New Guinea. I don't think I've been to the Angola Basin yet. Where else have I been? I've never been to the Red Sea, unfortunately. I would like to go there, but I've been to the Gulf of Oman, Persian Gulf, and the Gulf of Mexico, obviously. I guess it's not obvious. But I live in Houston, so that's why I'm like, I think it's obvious. So I've been in the Gulf of Mexico as well. We call it GOM, G-O-M.
And I say this because it's really true for any country that you go to, whether it's Japan, China, Korea, Germany, wherever you go. If it's a foreign country, you'll most likely feel a bit more lonely compared to your home country because you're away from your friends and your family. But Japan can be particularly lonely, especially because the culture is quite different compared to other countries. And I say this because if you don't know the language, it can be very difficult to live here.
Yeah, that's the one right there. That's the one. I don't think they have signs in English at all. Korea is like that too, actually. I noticed that most of the stuff, at least where I was in Seoul, which is their largest city. So I would expect the other places would be less of that. There was very little English anywhere. And that was hard for me because when I went to Korea, let's be real. When I went to Korea, I was pissed off at some other thing that had just happened a couple days before. I had this is during, what do you call that? Monterey Car Week. So I used to go yearly. So I was about to fly to Carmel, after, gosh, I'm trying to think of the timeline. So I had a flight to Carmel on Saturday. My mentee was visiting here. I think she came in Friday with her husband, and they stayed right down the street by my gym. And once they got here, I was like, we're gonna go hang out. We'll go do some stuff. Okay. I go downstairs because I'm about to go drive to them. I can't find my truck. Now, let me show you this truck, just so we understand that this is not a truck that is easily lost. And the management at the building I'm at, they were like, "Oh, maybe you didn't park it at the right." I'm just like, "You fucking." Anyway, I'll show you my truck. TRX. One does not simply. Well, get rid of this. Let's just go to where the truck parts are. One does not simply fucking lose a truck. This is a big ass truck.
So I'm waiting on mine to come in.
So I was pissed the fuck off because I go down there, my truck isn't there. I have a flight the next day. And I was just like, what the hell? So I end up having to push my flight back to Sunday. Pissed off. End up flying. I had a layover in Denver because I had to change my flight, so I couldn't get a direct flight. So I had to lay over in Denver. If you follow me on Instagram, you know how much I hate DIA. I fucking hate Denver Airport. I hate that place. I absolutely hate Denver Airport. I hate Denver too, but I hate Denver Airport even more. I can't impress upon you how much I hate that place. I had a layover in that airport, so I'm already pissed. And then United, for whatever reason, they're like, you know what? The flight's delayed, the new one. So I had to stay in fucking DIA for 3 hours. I was pissed off. So during that 3 hours, instead of just, seething, I'm like, let me get on my phone. Let me try to calm down. And I end up getting on YouTube, and what I do to calm down is I watch cooking videos or I'll watch food videos, people eating that kind of shit. And I happened to open up a video and it was Korean fried chicken. That shit looks so delicious. Oh my gosh. I was just like, I've never thought about going to Korea. I've never been to Korea, but this chicken looks delicious and I don't want to go back home. So I ended up booking a flight to Korea while I was on my layover. And I ended up, spending 6 weeks in California, and then I spent another 3 weeks in Korea. And when I was in Korea, this is when I learned that, it's not like all of the other places that are really popular, with American tourists where you'll see English everywhere. I was taken aback. I was in the airport. I was like, where are the English signs? I didn't see no English. It was just like, I went into the to the MRT. I don't know. I call it MRT. I call anything MRT. So I went down to the MRT, and they have these kiosks where you're supposed to purchase your ticket, and all this shit's in Korean. I'm just like, what the fuck? I'm over here like, man, like, what have I done? I don't know anything about Korea. Like, that's not I know some people are into K-pop and all that. I've never really taken an interest in Korea in general. No, we don't have that. We have Koreans here in Houston, but the largest Asian group we have here are like Vietnamese and Cantonese people. So that's what I know. I'm more familiar with that. But yeah, I ended up going to Korea, and I learned firsthand that, everything is in Korean. Everyone speaks Korean, which is obviously everyone speaks Korean. Most of the people are not bilingual. In fact, at least most of the people who I ran into in some of the smaller towns, because I also went to smaller towns outside of Seoul. All right. So in Seoul, you're going to meet more people who can speak, English or who are bilingual. And bilingual doesn't mean they speak English. It just means that they may speak Chinese in Korea, because Korea is right next to China. It would make a lot of sense that they speak that. Or some of them may speak Japanese. It's a little history with that. I don't. Most of them won't do it, but some of them do. Some of the folks may speak languages from in that region. So Russia's near there, that kind of stuff. Anyways, that was fun going there. I actually ended up meeting some folks and hanging out with folks, Koreans too. And I learned of this phenomena that happens with some foreigners, where you'll have these aunties or uncles. They'll just come up to you and just start talking. And I guess I just assume this, that they want to practice their English. Because why else would you go up to some random, person who you're supposed to be racist against, according to the internet, right? According to the internet, they're supposed to be racist against me. So, anyway, let's keep going.
For example, well, this is at least true in Tokyo, but for example, if you go to a convenience store, if you go to a supermarket, they're going to talk to you in Japanese, not English. So you need to learn the language. So
I like that.
If you have trouble learning languages or it's not your strong suit.
I'm a strong proponent of that. If you're going to move anywhere, you learn their language. And that goes to anyone moving to my country, which is America, where our national official language is English. If you're going to come here, you need to learn our language. I think that's a fundamental aspect of respecting the culture in which you're trying to become a part of. You need to assimilate into that culture. So I fully agree. you want to go to another country, like if you're one of these Americans and you're struggling here and you want to go and gentrify Mexico and your ass can't speak Spanish, you need to stay here. Learn Spanish first and then go over there. You know, go and contribute to their culture. Don't take your culture and your superiority complex and take it over there and think that because you come from America that you know best and that, you know, they need to be doing things the way that things are done here and here in America. You know, the thing that you're running from, that doesn't make sense to me. So yeah, I understand that. I actually appreciate that. You should learn the language. And as someone who's, I wouldn't call myself, what do you call that when you're supposed to be good at a language? I don't even know where I'm not even good at English anymore, obviously, but I can barely speak 4 languages. I'll say it that way. I can say that. I can barely speak 4 languages. I can barely read 4 languages, and I can barely write 4 languages. And that includes English.
It can get lonely because there are not very many people who can speak English, except maybe some other foreigners or some other people who are Japanese, but they've been abroad, or let's say they've been studying lots of English. And so I recommend that you learn the language before deciding to move here. Another thing is most people in Japan don't invite you to their houses like they do, for example, in the US. I remember when I was a kid growing up, and even now as an adult, when I have some good friends, we go to their house, have a potluck party, or, you know, hang out during Christmas together, either at their house or my house, etc. But in Japan, it's not quite so common because
the houses are so small.
Smaller.
Oh, okay. I'm glad you said that. I'm like, as he's saying, I'm like, what do you expect? Like, they live in these little shoe boxes. You're not. I live in a fairly, to me, this is small. To other people, this is a large apartment. My apartment's about 1,300 square feet. To me, it's cozy. I'm not trying to have a bunch of people in here. It's not enough room. There's not enough room. The max that I'm willing to have in here is like maybe 3 people other than me, unless it's 4 and like one of them's a kid or 2 of them are kids. You know, I got Roscoe. He takes up space. So if you're living in an equivalent like 400, 500 square foot apartment, it's square meters out there. What would it be, like 30 maybe 30 square meters, something like that. If you're living in something like that, 30 square meters would be large. Now that I think about it, it's probably closer to 20 or 25 square meters. So if you're living in something like that, the likelihood that you want to bring someone who's foreign into your house after working your 16-hour day, because remember, that's what the work culture is insane. The likelihood of someone wanting to do that is quite low. But then there's also this. Why don't you be the one to invite the people? They don't have to invite you. You can invite them. Maybe they take you up on it. Maybe not. I don't know.
So rather than going out to their house, it's usually at some kind of izakaya, which is kind of like a bar, but with lots of good food. Yeah, so just keep that in mind.
The third space, that's what it is. It's the third space.
In Japan, you'll start making your own friend group and you understand a little bit more about the culture and stuff. You'll feel less lonely. But I'd say, especially the first year, it took some time for me to adjust.
Yeah, you had that culture shock. That's what it sounds like.
So reason number 2, don't move to Japan if you get lonely easily.
I'm curious if I go to Japan, because I'm like, I want to go to like 2 or 3 places. Actually, no, that's a lot. There are 5 places in Japan I want to go to. But anyway, I have recently started, and I don't even know why I'm announcing it here, but I recently started a new like entity that's going to back this YouTube thing. And the plan is to take it a little bit more seriously next year and try to produce better video content, especially during the winter, because I can't ride my motorcycle, so I can't be lazy. I got to figure out something else to do. So I'm curious, would y'all be interested in seeing travel video / live stream type stuff? Because I have been contemplating, like I said, like I've been thinking about leaving the country to move, but I could also just stay here. But well, not say, I could also decide to not move, but instead get rid of my apartment and all this crap that I got, and instead just travel, just go back to traveling around, going to interesting places. There are a few places that I have intended to go to, like Mauritius. Let me pull that up. There's some food out there that I'm trying to go out and eat. My buddy was just out there. I think he just got married out there. Right here, Mauritius. There's also Seychelles, which I know someone from there as well that I would like to go to. And I discovered Seychelles when I was out in East Africa. I would like to go to Madagascar because they have those dope ass trees, and the people look incredibly interesting. It's insane. I don't know. They just look they look interesting. I want to go. I was also told by some people who I met in Kenya, who I was hanging out with, who are from South Africa, that I should come down to South Africa to come visit. So I probably want to go there. But let's go to where I want to go to in Japan. That's actually what I came over here for. Let's go up here. Oops. All right. So I would like to go to Tokyo, Hariko, whatever the hell you call that place. What do you call it? Fuck. I don't know what you call it. It's like it's one of the more northern places. It's Hokkaido. Hopefully you know what I'm talking about. I want to go there. I want to go to Osaka. Obviously I'm going to go to Kobe because, for reasons, the beef. Also Kobe Bryant, who's named after the beef, by the way. Kobe Bryant was named after Kobe beef. But it's called Kobe because, we didn't know how to say it. And then where else did I want to go? I would probably go to Hiroshima. Like, real talk. I'd probably go to Hiroshima. And I wanted to go to one of these southern islands down here. Why does it keep doing this? What the hell? I don't know why, but my computer is being really janky right now. Why does it keep doing that? Fuck it. I give up. We'll just watch the video. Muji. That's my favorite store for buying paper and pens. I have a bunch of Muji notebooks. Oh, look, Louis Vuitton. Huh. By the way, the last time I traveled was Taiwan. And I think that was the first time that that was the first time that I recognized that I was jaded from travel. Like, for real. And here's why. I started to notice something. After you go to a certain amount of places, you start to realize that globalism is real. And I don't like it. And it's not for the obvious reasons. It's just that so many places look the same now. And I'm not saying that that's the case for Japan or Taiwan. Like, Taiwan had a very different aesthetic to it. So does Japan. But what I'm more getting into is the retail stores as well. So most places that I go to, they have the same stores. Wherever I'm staying at, they'll have the Louis Vuitton, they'll have the AP, they'll have like all these luxury brands like Remote, all that. They'll have all the luxury shit in every city. So if I go to a mall or whatever, it's the same shit. I can't, like, if I wanted to go and explore and buy things that are local to there, it's a little bit harder to do it because so many other brands are global, right? Now, Japan, it may be less of that, right? Because Japan is such a powerhouse when it comes to manufacturing and design and all that kind of stuff. And, their culture promotes that. But yeah, just seeing this Louis Vuitton here, it's kind of like, yeah. And Van Cleef.
So the last reason why you wouldn't want to move to Japan is because of money. If you think money is really important, I wouldn't recommend it because the Japanese yen has depreciated so much. I remember it used to be 80 to the dollar, and now it's 150, sometimes 160
he must
to the
be
dollar.
earning yen.
I mean, it's been ridiculous.
He must be earning yen. If I ever, Japan's not on my list of places that I would even consider moving to, real talk. But I've never been there. I haven't been there for that long, so I can't say how I would feel if I'm there for a few weeks. Maybe I would consider it, but I wouldn't be earning yen. I would be earning dollars, so it would actually be a benefit for me. But I guess the difference between he and I is that I would have my business doing stuff. I wouldn't be trying to work for someone there. Like that just doesn't make sense to me. If I am working for someone, it's going to be more of a client basis where you are my client, and you know this is a project, and I'm going to deliver that project, and I'm going to move on. And I would expect to be paid. I mean, hell, they could pay me in yen, but it's going to be a very American price.
Now this used to be close to, I'd say maybe 12 bucks or so, but now this is like $7,
Ooh.
$7.50,
Ooh.
around there.
Ooh, that's hard. That's like 40%, 45, 50%.
I mean, it's gotten so cheap that, I mean, if you start working in Japan,
I might need to go to Japan.
You went back to
I can
the
afford
US,
it now because I can't afford Houston anymore. Houston's expensive. A breakfast taco costs $4. Man, I wonder if would it be a good time? Well, I don't think I can open up a bank account in Japan. They make shit hard like that. But I wonder if it would be worth purchasing some yen. Because if history is any indicator, they will bounce back. If you know the history of Japan, then you will know that they modernized within like a generation or two. After the Dutch came in and they realized that they were seriously behind the rest of the world, they did what they do and they decided to learn the shit, refine the shit, and they became really, really, really good at it. In fact, they became so good at it that maybe they got better at it than us. No, we did go to war with them. Keep that in mind. They were also an empire too, except they didn't make the bomb. So that's why they are where they are now. But I wouldn't overlook the Japanese. They're incredibly smart. They're hardworking, and they bounced back multiple times before. So yeah, I wouldn't count them out.
All the money you saved up will be a lot less because it's depreciated so much in the past 2 to 3 years. Of course, you can also find a higher paying job, but I'm just saying that there might be a lot more high paying jobs in the US compared to Japan for the same career level.
Well, that's true, but your cost of living here in the US is so much higher. I can remember when my expensive rent, when I got my first expensive apartment where I was living alone, not with like I used to have a 2-bedroom, but that was when I had I was with someone. But my first, expensive apartment after that was like $1,800, $1,600, between 16, let's just say $1,650, cut it into, it's about $1,800 a month for my first, like luxury high end. I'm living next door to one of the VPs of Walmart type shit, right? So it was cheap. That was in 2018, 2017 when I got it. Yeah. I think it was 2017 when I got that apartment. And now that same apartment, let's see what that apartment will rent for now. Pearl Residences. Oh, their rating is going down. That sucks. Let's see the floor plans. It could be cheap now. I heard that theft has started going up immediately after I left. Okay, so which one of these is okay? So this is the unit that I had here, I think. Yeah. No, wait, I didn't. Did I have? Oh, okay, never mind. Yeah, this is the unit that I had. Or is it? I know it was a 1. It was the biggest one that they had. Yeah, it must have been this one because I had an office in the front of my unit. Yeah, so this is the unit that I had here. And at the time, it was actually really affordable. It's like $1,600. I mean, it's still kind of affordable now. It's $22 now. That's actually not that bad. Oh shit, never mind. Never mind. That's a lot. Let's figure out what that is. So we'll do 22 minus 16, 6 over 1600. God, shit. All right, never mind. That's 40%. That's 40%. Shit. Man, that's insane. My apartment before here was only $1,400 a month, and that was for a 2-bedroom. Not here where I'm at now. Not here where I'm at now. You want to come here, you're going to pay out the ass.
Or the same amount of experience. So yeah, money could be a factor. Of course, you could get lucky, and there are some companies out there that pay very well. I mean, maybe even better than the US, but still, consider the fact that the Japanese yen has depreciated a lot. So, I hope that gave you some idea of what it's like to live in Japan and some thoughts on how to be prepared if you do decide to move to Japan. Now, again, should you move to Japan? Maybe, maybe not. But again, I would prepare for some of the hurdles living here, and also I encourage you to challenge yourself.
All right, give a comment for engagement. I am one of those people that, despite no one doing it for me, I do it for others. So every video, especially if it's a smaller subscriber, I have a bunch of people I'm subscribed to just to support. You know, 'cause I remember what it was like when and even though I don't have that many subscribers now. Like you may be like, oh yeah, you don't have that many. At one point, I had a lot of subscribers. So this is my second go around at this, and I lost all my subscribers. I also deleted all. Well, they're not all deleted. They were hidden. All my old videos are hidden, so I don't get any traffic from those videos anymore. But I remembered, when I first started my YouTube channel back in 2006, when I was making my first videos, I remember what it was like when I would do something and then I would get a comment and someone was like, it seemed like they enjoyed the stuff, and it made me feel good. Right. So I know what that's like, and it gave me the motivation to continue doing it for another 3 or 4 years before I ultimately decided that I needed to focus on my software and engineering degree or field, my career. Cause I had just graduated, and I was like, all right, well, I guess let me try this other thing out. All right. So I stopped the YouTube stuff, but I never forgot what it was like. And one of the reasons why, I can do what I'm doing now, and it's fairly easy, is because I'm not really new to this. The video part, yeah, I don't really do videos. I'm new to this. I'm sorry, I'm new to streams. Videos I'm not really new to, although I don't really like doing videos as much as streaming. Maybe because I'm lazy. Maybe that. All right, let's see. What else is here worth watching? I don't know if there's anything here worth watching, but we'll watch something regardless. Oh, here's Japan shot on the Sony FX3. You know what? This could be good inspiration for my plan for going to Japan. Because when I go to Japan, I plan to, I'm doing it for photography as well. I have very specific shots that I need to get that I want to print and hang on my wall. So it's also that. It's not just I want to go to Japan. Like, there are some things that I'm trying to get accomplished while I'm out there, which is why I would probably want to be there for 6 weeks at a minimum. I like this framing here. Let's put this in full screen. Okay. Yeah, I like that framing right there. And the frame within the frame. Yeah, that's dope too. The look to the side, you get the profile shot. So yeah, you first get the silhouette, and then you get the silhouette with the profile. That's dope. Oh wow, that's a good shot. Wait, hold on. I want to pause here. So this is one of the things that this is something that I've been doing lately. When I got into photography, like I just taking pictures. Yeah, I've always done video, but I've never really been into video. But lately, I've been noticing that I like video more. And I think it's because I think I'm a better photographer now. So a lot of my video shots, for me, it's just like it's a frame for a photograph, and I'm just recording it, and it's just a bunch of photographs. But this is a really good shot. What's that noise? Hearing some weird ass noise. But yeah, this is a really good shot. I like this shot and how he framed it right here. Yeah, that's really, I think that's a good shot. It's a really good perspective too. It looks like he's fairly low to the ground, or the camera's fairly low to the ground. And then let's see, what does it go to next? So I don't know if y'all know, if y'all caught this. Oh shit, why can't I? But the first shot, it's a diagonal going to the upper right corner, and then in this one, it's a diagonal, but it's going from the top left corner down to the bottom third. So you get this crisscross. So what I'm trying to say is that I like the transition from that other shot to this, because it's kind of the same thing. Like it's that same angle. I don't know. Maybe it's hard for me to communicate these types of things because it's not what I'm used to communicating. It's mostly engineering type stuff that I'm used to communicating, or how things work, that kind of stuff. Ooh, this is a good shot. I'm pretty sure this wasn't the actual shot because they have these letterboxing right here. So he must have been closer to the middle of the frame, but when they recomposed this shot, they put him down here in the lower, what's this, the lower third right here, directly in the middle. We get this, whatever the structure here, and then this big ass shadow right here kind of balance it out, and he's got these letters. It's pretty dope. Oh, and you get the long shadow, so there's a light source over here. That's really cool. I wonder if he's gonna move. Oh yeah, the light's blinking. Get people walking in silhouette. Yeah, this is really good. Man, I didn't know they was working with it like that. Well, it's not much, but I was. It's more than some of the other places I've been to. Just saying. This right here is a cool shot. Well, this is cool too, but the other one was cooler. Ooh, that's dope. All right, this is dope. This is a shot. Yeah, I need to go to Japan. Maybe I will spend. Maybe I'm not going to spend 20 grand. I'm not spending 20 grand, but maybe I will be willing to spend slightly more than 5 grand if I can get this type of stuff. And this is for me. I don't even know if I would publish it because I would have to edit it. But wow, I would love to hang this on my wall. This right here is dope. Wow, that lighting is beautiful. Look, man. Oh my gosh. The lighting is beautiful. Look at that golden light. I like what he's doing. He's going back and forth between the built environment and the people who are living in that environment. And I like the fact that he's not only showing movement, but he's showing interaction. I've seen this. I've seen this sign. I know. Wait. I've seen this place. I've seen this. I don't know what it is, but I've seen this. I've seen this. It's also interesting that, like, I can understand some of these characters, but I know that they're not pronounced the same way. Or are they pronounced the same way? Or do they just have different meanings? I'm not really sure. I don't read Japanese. I want to be clear. I can't read Japanese at all. But I can read Mandarin to a certain degree. This is a dope shot. This is a dope shot. Somehow it manages to establish how large the environment is, but also it feels claustrophobic at the same time, even though there's no one around her. I think it works because you see her, this is the primary thing, but she's not in focus. It's the background that's in focus. So she just becomes the foreground element to give context, essentially, to show like the relationship and size between what the subject is in the background. But you see all of these people, you see all this action here, and then due to the focal length and of this lens and where they are, it brings the background closer to the subject, giving you a sense that things are closer than they are. Just where that claustrophobic feeling is coming from. I like that he got the walk. Yeah, I think this is Shibuya Crossing. No, I don't think that's Shibuya Crossing. I don't know what that is. Ooh, okay. That shit, okay. All right. I see what you did there. This right here is dope. I love how they found a natural framing with these buildings for the Japanese tower, this TV tower. That's dope. You got this building here, which basically just looks like negative space. And then you got this right here, which is part of this building, but this texture, oh yeah, that's dope. That is phenomenal. I really need to go to Japan. I like the architecture in here. This is dope. The lighting. That bridge is dope. This 3D ad is dope. The shot is dope. This shot right here. I love this shot. You have the subject, technically, even though the real subject is probably the sign, but for me, the human subject is this person in the left third who is in shadow, but you see the phone pointing to the thing that's supposed to be drawing your attention. This works. This works. Wait, hold on. I don't know if y'all caught that, but it cuts when the what is this, a car or whatever, that bus, whatever you call these vehicles, the vehicle is going this way, but notice when the next shot continues it's going, that's dope right there. So you get 2 shots of movement from vehicles. It seems like every city has these like tourist trap things. I got sucked into one when I was in Dubai. I normally try to avoid those. There's actually one next door to me. Oh, all right. So I am a sucker for airplanes and flight. Yeah, I love it just for that. If you are someone who follows me on Instagram and you've been doing it for any length of time, you may notice that I tend to post a lot of airplanes flying in the sky or helicopter. I love that shit. I have actually considered going to the airport and just recording, but the problem is that the airport's far and I don't want to drive my car there because I hate my car. I'd rather ride my motorcycle, but to ride my motorcycle there, it's hard because it's hard to fit a lot of shit in my backpack, like a tripod, my cameras, other like battery, like other shit that I may need, ND filters, all that kind of crap. Oh wow, I like that. This is the top of that building. You can go all the way up to the top, and there's like a sitting area. You can kind of just hang out, overlook the city. That's what he should have shown. What's that? Or maybe he is going to show it, but at a different time of day. Oh, that is sick. That is sick. I like that too. I like how he's showing a mix of the built environment of the city, but like the cultural stuff too. The thing that grounds them, you know, the thing that we've lost in our country. We threw away our religion and traditions for modernity, for materialism. I've seen this area before. I don't think this is Tokyo. Yeah, I don't think this area, I don't think we're in Tokyo anymore. Oh, we're not. Okay. Yeah, all right. I wonder. Is this the place that starts with a K? Something is near Mount Fiji is... Fuck, what is this place called? It starts with a K, I think. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. That is dope. You can even see the colors on that mountain back there. Oh man, the little cat missing his eye. He must have got attacked. I think I can do something like this easily. Well, I'm not saying easy, but like it's easier than other types of things. I would be able to do that fairly well because I'm really decent with static shots, mainly because it's just photography. It's just get my regular frame and just press record and get enough clips, you know, do some editing. That would be easy for me. I think what would make it a little bit harder is how would I tell a story? Cause I wouldn't want to just have this right here. Like, this is dope and all, but to be real, there's, other than my passion for photography and just looking at stuff like this, there's nothing keeping me here on this video and making me say, hey, I want to continue to the end, right? That's what the story element is for. You hook someone and you give them, basically you give them a way to put skin in the game where they now have a vested interest in what happens. You know, there's none of that here. I would want to do that. That's something that I think that I need to work on. I don't think that my photography, I'm not saying that my photography is great. I don't think that that's the most impactful thing that I can improve on in my life. I think the ability to tell a coherent story and connect with people in this form, in this format, I think learning that skill set is more valuable than focusing on, I don't know, whatever else I can improve in my photography. Ooh, I like that. I love that. So, man, this is the bullet train is one reason why I am considering an A9. I know it's dumb. I don't like rolling shutter. I'll just say it. I don't even have to apologize. I don't like rolling shutter. The A1, I know it does better, but when you're on a bullet train, they go fast. I've been on a few. Everything looks to the left. I have a video. Let me see if I can find a video of me on a bullet train. This is on the iPhone on a small sensor, and even on the small sensor, you can kind of see the rolling shutter. Find where is my locations map? I have personal pictures and stuff. It's nothing bad. It's just I got people who maybe don't want to be seen, so I want to make sure I don't get those. All right, this is on a train somewhere. Hopefully I look out the window. That's what I'm hoping. Okay, I don't. Of course I don't. Of course, I don't look out the window. It's hard. It's kind of hard to find these because, for whatever reason, I don't see it. Like, it should be on this track right here because that's where the train is. Bullet train. Or maybe here. Oh yeah, this is a good one. Middle of nowhere. It takes a while because there we go. It's harder to see it when it's up close, but because I know it's there, I can see it. Everything is leaned to the left if you look closely enough. But it's harder to see it when it's close to you because that's just how things work. But the farther away it is, the more you see that lean, and I don't like it. But this is on an iPhone, right? So if I were to record this on my Sony camera, my A7S III, I would have got rolling shutter at that speed. Anything slower than that, we're probably good. Maybe I have another one. I rode the train all the way down to the southern part of the island. See if I can find. Oh, this is somewhere else. Oh, all right. Well, never mind. I don't know. It's too much. It's too difficult to find these things. But yeah. Let's see. We got Japan. So this is what I mean. I've only been there, like, I wasn't there for that long. So I didn't get a chance to really do what I wanted to do, and all that kind of stuff. And even when I went to Korea, I didn't really get to go to all the places that I wanted to go to because of the typhoon that landed when I got there. So I only went down as far as Suwon. I wanted to go down to Busan. And then somebody, my mentors, like I think one of his partners at his law firm, he said that I should go to Daegu. I didn't get a chance to go there, and I had planned to go to Jeju Island. I was just like, oh, that'd be kind of cool just to say I did it. Didn't get a chance to though. But yeah, this is dope. I like this. This is really cool. This is good. This is really inspirational. I'm gonna save this as videography. Yeah, that's cool. I need to go to Japan again and actually like spend time there. All right. I've talked to myself enough. I'm out. Peace.